Good morning, everybody. Well, it's a rainy day here in Southwest Virginia, and the oak pollen is out in full force. So if I start coughing in the middle of this video, please excuse me, but there's not much I can do about it. This week, week 4, we are taking a sort of detour away from the more academic aspects of the course and getting into some practical ones. Mostly, the practicality comes in your interview of someone who works within the judicial system. You may be interviewing a clerk or a deputy clerk. You may be interviewing a judge, a court administrator, a bailiff, a prosecutor, or another lawyer who works regularly within the system. Anyone who is a cog in the wheel of justice, if we can put it that way, is fair game for this interview. Remember, though, that before you conduct your interview, you should fully inform your subject of what you're doing, why you're doing it, and have that person sign the interview consent form that you can find in the assignments and rubrics section of your learning module. Now, as you're conducting this interview, remember the real purpose of this class, which is to learn about the judicial administration system. So you want to know how the person you're talking to fits into that system, how he or she makes the system work more efficiently. But in looking toward efficiency as a goal, which it is, we also have to remember that the main goal of the judicial system is justice for all parties, and that is true whether we're talking about the civil side of the system or the criminal side. Justice, as an abstract concept, is something that we are looking for always in any dealings that we have with a court. We want to make sure that a person who's committed a crime is convicted and punished appropriately. We want to make sure that someone who has wronged another person in a civil way is held liable for that wrong and made to compensate the person who's been harmed. Justice comes in many forms, in other words, but it's always the main goal of any judicial proceeding, whether that proceeding is civil or criminal, and whether it's in a small claims court or a juvenile court or a family court or a traffic court or any kind of court, an immigration court, or whether it's on appeal. You're always looking for the just and fair resolution to whatever problem it is that's being aired in front of the court. Now, that's number one. Justice is, that's the number one goal of the system. But the secondary goal, running a very close second nowadays because of limited resources, is efficiency. We want a court system that functions to the best of its ability within its budget. All courts are constrained by a budget, and those budgets are getting tighter and tighter in many parts of the country, most parts of the country, in fact. We've seen layoffs within certain court systems. We've seen consolidations of jobs. We've seen judges who are asked to preside over more kinds of cases than they normally would have done, or they're working in other geographic areas than the one they were originally assigned to work in. In other words, we're seeing the most made of the limited amount of funds that a system has. So we do want the system to be efficient. Many times, though, on a day-to-day basis, we lose sight of that number one goal, justice, in the pursuit of efficiency. And we don't want to do that because efficiency is important. It's certainly important to maximize the use of the money that you have and the resources that you have other than just money. But that has to come second to really serving the cause of justice, which is the main purpose of the court system. So as you're talking about this with your interview subject, kind of try to bring in both the role that person plays in keeping the system efficient, but also the role that person plays in making sure that the system produces a just result. Now, Our discussion board this week may strike some of you as a little bit silly, and it's a little bit silly, but it's silly to a purpose. You're being asked to play that childhood game of rock, paper, scissors, and to draw out of a hat, metaphorically or literally, depending on your own decision, two names. And in the hat are all the names of the people who participate in a court system. It might be judge or lawyer. It might be clerk, deputy clerk, bailiff, court administrator, court reporter, any number of people, probation officer, people who participate, excuse me, that's the allergies making me rub my nose, people who participate in the court system. And you draw out of those hat two names and you pit them against each other. Metaphorically, this is not a celebrity death match or anything. Just decide which one would prevail, which one, in other words, has power over the other and why. Now, you can make pretty cogent arguments that any one might be more important than any other in making the judicial system work efficiently and in a just way. So go ahead and make those arguments. I'm very interested to hear what you think. And as long as your arguments are just, are logical and have some basis in reality, then I'm more than happy to acknowledge that you've made a good argument, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say. I hope, excuse me, I knew this would happen. I'm so sorry. I better stop talking soon because I'm going to go into a full-fledged coughing jag. The oak pollen is killing me. It's driving me completely out of my mind, frankly. But it'll be gone soon, by next week, I hope. Let me know as you're getting ready to conduct your interviews, or if you're in the middle, or if you have problems with the consent forms. If you have problems finding people to interview, I may be able to give you alternative ways of finding someone. Just let me know if you're having any problems. As always, I'm here for you, and I hope to read some great things from all of you. Have a great week. Bye-bye.